John Smoltz, 17-3 this year, keeping warm. Top one, no score, Quilvio, Veras on first for Tony Gwynn, who's hitting better than 300 against Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddux. Smoltzy, who hadn't had an error all year, threw it to center field. Veras moves up to third. That brings in Caminiti to the plate. With one out, Smoltzy brings the heat. You'll take that pitch and like it. That's why Smoltz has a record 11 postseason wins. Then Wally Joyner blowing up, hitting .412 with runners in scoring position. Didn't work. With runners on second and third, Smoltz got out of a jam. Bottom three, I'm not a player, I just crush a lot. Andruw Jones, you know, he's 0 for 14 lifetime in the division series, but in the LCS and World Series combined, Andrew's hitting .366 with 4 homers. Bottom three, one out, Michael Tucker in third for Walt Weiss. Weiss attempts a suicide squeeze, pops up to Andy Ashby, who throws to third, doubling off Tucker. Ashby said later, I heard everybody say squeeze, squeeze, thank God he popped it up. Top 5, Tony Gwynn. Get this, Gwynn finished 9th in the NL batting race. 9th, his worst finish ever. Drives in Carlos Hernandez there. We are tied at 1. The next batter, Greg Vaughn, who hit his 50th homer in the last day of the season. Deep to right, Michael Tucker, fat catch. Check it and listen to it again. Tucker also had a double in the game. Greg Vaughn would lead the game after that play with a strained left quad. Top 8, Vaughn's replacement. Ruben Rivera on second for Caminiti, facing John Rocker. Caminiti, former MVP, flies to center. Rivera slamming base running, tags, slides in ahead of the tag at third. John Smoltz on the bench thought he was out. Watch again. Rivera, who was 0 for 6 batting in the division series, just gets in under Chipper Jones's tag. With one out, that brings to the plate Jim Leyritz. 3 homers in the division series. Leyritz, money again, just a whole lot shorter. Grounds it back to the mound. Dennis Martinez throws to first. Andres Galarraga doesn't hold the tag, doesn't hold the bag, then his throw home is wild. Galarraga, a 2-time Gold Glover, 2 errors on 1 play, pods a 2-1 lead. Bottom 9, here comes Trevor Hoffman. 53 saves and 54 chances this year. Braves hoping for some luck. Ryan Klesko on first, Javy Lopez to left. Watch Klesko, didn't even think about stopping at second. Slides in safely at third. He would get knocked in the head, but he would be okay. Caminiti said, I wasn't trying to cheat, I just was trying to block the plate. That brings up Andruw Jones. Andruw, long fly out, but he did the job. His 14th career postseason RBI. Klesko tags, scores from third. We are tied at 2. We're going to extra innings. Top 10, Kerry Ligtenberg. Booyah! Gets smashed by Caminiti. First time Caminiti had ever faced Ligtenberg. Caminiti only 6 career postseason hits. 4 of them are home runs. Pods up 3-2. Bottom 10, Hoffman still pitching, facing pinch hitter Tom Glavine. The pitcher for Thursday night's game 2. Glavine, who hit .239 this year, walks. Hoffman pulled from the game, his 2nd blown save this year. Chipper Jones hitting .385 career in the LCS, walks. Braves fans a bit relieved. Runners on first and second, 2 outs. Andres Galarraga, you know he had those 2 errors, had 121 RBI in the regular season, flies out. No RBI in the postseason for Big Cat. Donne Wall gets his 2nd save of the year.
Trained left quadricep. Brown had it working right off the bat. Weiss looking, Keith Lockhart swinging, and then Chipper Jones looking to end the first. Brown sharp early on. Top of the 2nd, no score. 3 Tom Glavine walks. Uncharacteristic lack of control for Glavine in the top of the 2nd. Loads the bases, but Kevin Brown looking to get out of the jam. Bottom of the 2nd, still no score. Runners on first and second. Kevin Brown in a jam now, but he gets the nifty, always gorgeous 3-6-1 double play from Javy Lopez. Brown worked out of that inning unscathed. Top of the 3rd, no score. Runners on the corners for the Padres. Glavine walks Wally Joyner to load the bases. He walked 5 batters in his first 2 2/3 innings. His career high is 7. That earns a trip to the mound from Leo Mazzoni. And with the bases loaded, Glavine gets out of the inning by getting Carlos Hernandez to fly out to Andruw Jones in left center. Ted Turner taking on an emotional joyride, but he's still rich. Top of the 4th, still no score. 2 outs, Glavine in another jam. Quilvio Veras, however, swinging to get out of the top of the 4th. Bottom of the 4th, the Braves have runners on first and second. A lot of base runners early on. Brown, wild, gets past Hernandez. Runners advance to 2nd and 3rd. Now it's time for Lopez. Lopez Pops one to shallow left field. Ruben Rivera in for the injured Vaughn, makes the grab, and that's the end of the inning. Top of the fifth, still no score. Ken Caminiti, the hero from the previous night, on first, 2 outs. Wally Joyner looking, and that's the end of the fifth. Top of the sixth, we are still scoreless. Whoosh. Chris Gomez on first, 2 outs, a 1-2 count. Glavine 1 strike away from getting out of the inning, but Kevin Brown finds a hole and prolongs the inning. We have runners on first and second now for Quilvio Veras. Quilvio Veras at the plate. Veras, base hit up the middle. Chris Gomez, come on down. The Padres up 1-0 as the throw goes through and past Lopez. Brown, who hesitated, decides to go to third, and that's a mistake. Bobby Cox, calisthenics. Whee! Padres up 1-0 though. Bottom of the sixth, that's your score. Kevin Brown, dirty, a warrior, focused, facing Chipper Jones. Chipper, full count.
Hits one deep to right center field. Stiff Finley on the run and at the wall, and he makes the catch.
The shutout's still intact. Bottom of the seventh, still 1-0 Padres. Andruw Jones at the plate. We'll go slow-mo for this one.
A great slider by Brown. Andruw Jones, swing and miss.
8 strikeouts for Brown. 1-0 through 7. Bottom of the eighth, that's your score. Braves running out of time. Brown, a 93-mile-an-hour fastball past Keith Lockhart to end the eighth. Top of the ninth, it is still 1-0. Kevin Brown on second, men on first and second, in fact. With Steve Finley at the plate, Javy Lopez tries to pick off Brown at second. It goes through to center field. Brown goes to third. The very next pitch to Steve Finley from Odalis Perez, and he chops it to Lockhart, who has trouble getting out of his glove, and everybody's safe. 2-0 Padres. Bobby Cox stoic. Still in the ninth, bases loaded. Perez now facing left-hander Wally Joyner, and Joyner grounds it to first. Andres Galarraga bobbles it, and everybody's safe again. It's 3-0 Padres. Bottom of the ninth, Padres, this is what a team smelling victory looks like. Smelling defeat on the other side. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. Ryan Klesko, the last Brave, going down. Brown ends it. A complete game shutout with his 11th strikeout. A most deserving headbutt from Greg Vaughn, and the Padres win 3-0.
Pitch, and Maddux gets Leyritz swing checking. First base umpire Greg Bonin says, "You went around." It would not be the last encounter between Maddux and Leyritz. Top of the third, 1 on for Walt Weiss. Give me a Leyritz catcher cam. Weiss laces the single to center. Tony Graffinino coming around, and he will score on a weak throw from Steve Finley. He's in there, 1-0 Braves. 2 batters later, 1 on for Chipper Jones with 2 outs, and Jones singles to left. Here comes John Vander. No weak throw from him. A great throw, and Leyritz hangs on, and Weiss is dosed. Watch it again from the catcher's perspective, although if you want to, hide the kids in the breakables. Whoa! And it would not be the last physical confrontation for Leyritz as we animate our way into it. Leyritz asking home plate umpire Tom Hallion to check the baseball to see if Maddux is scuffing it. Maddux upset, so he plunks him with the first pitch. Tempers would flare. Maddux saying, "I didn't mean to do it." Leyritz didn't believe him. Bottom fifth, Padres still down 1-0. 1 on for Steve Finley. At 1 on, being Sterling Hitchcock, the pitcher. He calls himself a flat-out awful hitter, but he scored. Padres now tie the game up at 1. And now some strategy. Bobby Cox decides to walk Tony Gwynn to face Ken Caminiti with 2 on. Remember, Caminiti hit the game-winning homer in Game 1, and he makes him pay by knocking a single up the middle, said Caminiti afterwards, quote, "My hits have been timely." Padres now go up by a score of 2-1. The bench, euphoric. More strategy now. Top 6, Sterling Hitchcock out of the game, in for Donnie Wall. And Wall intentionally walks pinch hitter Ryan Klesko to load the bases. Padres leave the righty Wall in to face Michael Tucker. Tuckered out. Strikes out for the second out. That was huge. With 2 outs, Greg Colburn comes in for Greg Maddux. He was 2 for 2. I said was. Wall struck out 3 in 2 innings. Hitchcock is enthused. Top of the 8th, still 2-1 Braves. Again with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Bruce Bochy says it's time for the Terminator. He brings in Trevor Hoffman to the tune of AC/DC's Hell's Bells. Yes, it's a family show, but it's what they were playing. But does pinch hitter Javy Lopez know what's coming? Fastball. Changeup. Fastball. If he knew, he was really bad. The Padres get out of another bases-loaded situation The Braves left 12 men on base. Bottom 8, 3-1 Padres. Rudy Saenz in and uncorks a wild one. Javy Lopez came in, and it's called a pass ball. Hernandez comes home and then gets bonus points for spiking the batting helmet. 4-1 San Diego. Top 9 Braves with 1 on for Chipper Jones. Goes down swinging. He's hitting 167 in the NLCS. Andruw Galarraga representing the Braves' last chance, but true to his .091 batting average, Hoffman nails down the save. The Padres are up 3-0, and they win the game 4.
Against Joey Hamilton and Nagel ripping it to left. Ruben Rivera's after it, coming in to make the play. Now we're to the third. Still no score. Runner on first. Tony Gwynn into the vacancy in the right center. Quilvio Veras coming to score from first, running hard and scoring to put the Padres up by a count of 1-0. The throw is wide and late. 2 batters later, runners at the corner for Jim Leyritz. There they are at corners. Leyritz going the other way. Tony Gwynn will come to score. The Padres up by a count of 2-0. The 6th. Rays are down 2-1. First and second for Ryan Klesko. He goes to left. Chipper Jones will try to score from second. Rivera's throws on line but cut off. Ken Caminiti then tags Andres Galarraga, but the game is tied at 2 apiece. Leyritz going up Denny Nagel, and he has successfully reached the 18 to 39-year-old target audience. His 4th homer in the postseason. The Padres bench watching it just clear. It's 3-2 game. Now Javy Lopez. Home run off of Hamilton near the palm tree, tied at 3, and Joey Hamilton's done. 4 batters later, Andruw Jones on second. It's Eisen against Randy Myers. He goes to left, and Rivera coming up throwing after bobbling. Safe at the plate. It's a 4-3 Braves lead. Now they're loaded. Here's Charlie Steiner with the call.
Oh, there's a high fly ball way back. Is he due? He's overdue. A grand slam home run for the big cat, Andres Galarraga. 8-3 Atlanta.
Charlie belting it out. Ozzie Guillen knew it was gone from over at third base. As you watch, he turns to see it go. Galarraga's first RBI in the postseason after 121 in the regular season. Now to the 8th. Padres down 8-3. Carlos Hernandez has 2 aboard. Also 2 aboard. Rudy Saenz gets them to go 6-4-3. Ends the inning. To the 9th. Kerry Lightenberg's in. Quilvio Veras. Another case of the man keeping us down. And the Braves hanging in it, winning this thing 8-3. The Braves finally getting some runs aboard the 4-game losing streak here. Would have been the first time in franchise history that they'd be swept 4 in 1 series, in a 7-game series. And they won this game.
Ken Caminiti got things going right off his bat. In the bottom of the first, a 2-run shot the other way off of John Smoltz. Just like that, Padres take a 2-0 lead on Caminiti's 2nd home run of the postseason. He homered in Game 1 victory over Atlanta, you might remember. And he stared that one through and gone. Top of the 2nd, Andy Ashby got Javy Lopez swinging. Is that Fred Flintstone with like a bad hair weave, or what is that? Bottom of the 2nd, Smoltz got it together. Carlos Hernandez swinging. 2 batters later, Ashby swinging to end the inning. Top of the 3rd, still 2-0. Runners on the corners with 2 out. There's your runner on the 3rd and your runner on first for the big cat, Andres Galarraga. The day after his big grand slam, he takes the mistake pitch deep to left, but John Vander makes a nice sliding catch, getting Ashby out of the jam. Top of the 4th, 2 on for Michael Tucker. Even though Smoltz is on deck, they decide to pitch to Tucker, and Tucker makes him pay. Leads it through the hole on the right side. Javy Lopez come on down, and the Padres lead over the Braves is now just 2-1. Next batter runners on the corners for Smoltz. And the suicide squeeze is on, but the Padres sniff it out. The pitch out. The rundown is on, and Andruw Jones is out. Bobby Cox, nonplussed. 2 away. Next batter, Ozzie Guillen, who had a great game. Rips this puppy into the right center field gap. Long run for Steve Finley, but he makes the catch. Guillen went 3 for 5 in this game. Top of the 6th, Andruw Jones on second for Michael Tucker again. And again, the Padres elect to pitch to him rather than pitch to the pitcher. And Tucker makes him pay again. We're tied at 2. Bottom of the 6th. Wally Joyner facing John Smoltz with 2 outs. And Joyner dribbles 1 to 3rd. Chipper Jones charging, barehanding, ill-advised barehanded attempt. Joyner safe, ruled a single. Cox dumbfounded. Next batter, 0-2 pitch to Vander. Cox will be even more dumbfounded. Very hittable pitch, and he hits it out of the park. A 2-run shot, first career postseason homer for Vander. and the Padres up 4-2 and hand it over to, what, Kevin Brown? Who said he was going to make a Game 6 start? All right, maybe I did. Bruce Bochy brings him in relief, and he gets Greg Colburn swinging, who breaks off a little something proper. By swinging and missing, he breaks the bat. Brown got out of the 7th, but he wouldn't get out of the 8th. Javy Lopez with a man on grounds in the hole, but Chris Gomez can't get Ryan Klesko at second, so men on first and second, 1 out, 2 batters later for Michael Tucker, and he got it.
I think Michael wanted me to say booyah here.
Well, it's booyah then.
Booyah! All right.
There he hit it. He's .333 lifetime against Kevin Brown. And not only did Michael Tucker knock Brown from this game, but perhaps from a Game 6 start as well. Brown got removed after throwing 41 pitches in Game 5. In came Donnie Wall, who promptly walked the pitcher John Rocker and then gets rocked into the gap by Tony Graffinino. Here comes Rocker, all 6'4" of them to play at the plate. He upends Hernandez. The ball goes flying elsewhere, and Graffinino gets awarded home. 7-4 Braves, a 5-run 8th inning. And they hand it over to Kerry Lightenberg, and he couldn't save it. Greg Myers takes him deep out and gone to right field. A 2-run shot. Myers is first of the postseason. It's a 7-6 game. So who do the Braves and John Schuerholz turn to? Why not Greg Maddux? Padres bring in Kevin Brown. Why not bring in Maddux? Greg Vaughn making his first appearance since Game 1. He goes down swinging in 3 pitches, first out of the inning. Next batter for Maddux, making his 5th career relief appearance, is Quilvio Veras, who grounds to short. And Bobby Cox enjoying the fact that Greg Maddux can wrap up this Game 5. The next batter is Steve Finley, but Steve Finley busts out the walking stick. The Padres fans, they're praying for a miracle, but that miracle's in the form of Tony Gwynn as the winning run at the plate. And Gwynn, who hits Maddux very well throughout his career, grounds to the big cat, who knocks it down and takes it to first himself to wrap it up. The Braves have life, I tell you. Michael Tucker drove in the first 5 runs for the Atlanta Braves in this game. He's won the first 2 at the TED, one of them against Glavine, so why not a third? Big brother watching for the Yankees, or Big Stick, and several other scouts on hand watching the proceedings for the Yanks. Top of the first, Quilvio Veras on first. Tony Gwynn grounds into a 6-4-3 double play, but Tony went 2 for 5 in this game. Bottom of the first, Walt Weiss now leading off against Sterling Hitchcock, swinging. Hitchcock struck out 6 in Game 3, and he struck out 8 in this particular game, getting Chipper Jones to end the inning. Top of the second, Ken Caminiti on second with 2 outs. Glavine very careful with Steve Finley. Why not? Chris Gomez, who has no ribbies in the postseason, on deck, and he pitches to him, does Glavine, and gets him to ground out to second to end the inning. Bottom of the second, Andres Galarraga on third by way of 2 wild pitches. This pitch is right on target to Danny Bautista, however. That'll wrap up that inning. Top of the third, 2-on-2 out for Ken Caminiti with Jim Leyritz on deck, and Caminiti goes down swinging. Glavine struck out 2. We're still scoreless. Bottom of the fourth, Gerald Williams on second for Javy Lopez. Grounds down the line. Caminiti does his best to stop it, and that's big because it saves a run. And with 2 outs, the Braves have only runners on the corners instead of a run in. Next batter, Andruw Jones, pops up. Chris Gomez settling in short left field to make the grab. We're scoreless into the top of the 6th. Whoosh, take me there. Greg Vaughn on first for Ken Caminiti, and Bruce Bochy has Vaughn on the run, and that's clutch because Caminiti hits it in the hole that Graffinino vacated to cover second, and we have runners on the corners instead of a potential double play for Jim Leyritz. Leyritz doesn't homer, but he chops one. Chipper Jones, nice play. Leyritz knocks in a run, his 9th ribby of the postseason. It's 1-0 Pods. Wally Joyner single would make it 2-0, and now Chris Gomez walks to load the bases with 2 out. For the pitcher, Sterling Hitchcock, and he goes the other way and dunks it in front of Bautista, who can't make the grab. A 2-run, 2-out, 0-2 single for the pitcher goes off of Bautista's glove. Hitchcock can't believe what's going on. The Padres bench is loving. That would be it for Glavine, who didn't get out of the 6th. John Rocker gets the call for the Braves, and Quilvio Veras rocks his world. Base hit, an insurance 5th run of the inning. Bobby Cox watching it slip away, but Hitchcock lets his control slip away. Coming out in the 6th, he promptly walks Walt Weiss and Gerald Williams, and Bruce Bochy has seen enough, and he surrenders, and that's the end of the night for Hitchcock after only 2 hits. But another Yankee comes in and does the job, ex-Yankee, pardon me. Brian Boringer gets Chipper Jones looking after a Galarraga fly ball. Javy Lopez pops out to Ken Caminiti at third. and ends the 6th. Bollinger does the job. Bottom of the 8th. Take me there. Braves fans with their rally cap time.
You turn the cap inside out, and it's a rally cap.
Joey Hamilton gets Chipper Jones to ground out to Wally Joyner. Nice flip. Jones 0 for 4, went 2-0-6 in the playoffs. Next batter, Andres Galarraga, with a man on second and 2 outs. And he taps back to the pitcher. The Big Cat 2 for 21 in the LCS. His only homer and ribby, the Game 4 grand slam. Trevor Hoffman in to close it with 2 outs.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's on the way to Tucker. Drive left center field in the air. Coming on quickly. Finley. He's under. He's got it. And the Padres drape the National League flag around their shoulders for 1998. Oh, Tucker!
Jerry Coleman with the call. Ironically, Michael Tucker, the last out. Padres GM Kevin Towers with the kiss. Chipper on Atlanta GM John Schorholtz, stoic. And Sterling Hitchcock celebrating not only the clinch, but an MVP award for him. He earned the MVP honors by becoming only the 4th pitcher to beat Atlanta twice in the postseason series this decade. And after he left, 4 relievers combined for 4 innings of hitless relief as the Padres are back in the World Series Game 1 in the Boogie Down Saturday night. You can hear that game on ESPN Radio.